Rahimovic in the building, and welcome to the Rondo with my two hosts, Tom Bogert, Tom Hindle. How you guys doing today, man? How you doing,
Tom? Pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Episode 5, we got some great topics we're going to be talking about today. Let's get into it. We're going to have to get into this player welfare and how, Rodri has even said, like, listen, we're playing so many games that players need to think about going on strike because they're playing over 80 games in a season. How do you guys feel about, these players just exerting so much energy of their bodies just to, for FIFA to make money or for even the Premier League to make money?
Going back to the Rodri thing, him tearing his ACL was so unlucky, and I'm not sure you can directly link. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
Not sure you can directly link that to the number of games he played. But another part of that interview, he said, number one, that the players would consider going on strike, which is mad. Shout out to him for actually saying that, which a lot of people might be thinking. And the other part of that interview that was lost is that he said the optimum number of games for a professional player to play every year was somewhere between 40 to 50. So he said, if you want us to give our absolute best and look, produce the best content as fans, 45 games. Sweet. But otherwise, we're just going to be phoning it in. And you're doubling that, bro.
And if you think about it, 40 to 50 games, that's it. There's 52 weeks in a year. That means they're playing year round, even with 40 or 50 games.
No, so, and that's the thing, man. Like, everything is getting watered down. Everything is getting stretched too thin in the idea of money and greed. But the issue is when, and this is a good comparison for about everything in society right now, when the business folk take over from the experts in that field.
Yeah.
When we're listening to people with an MBA instead of the players, that's when it gets skewed wrong. Because then greed is ahead of prioritizing the games and what's best for players, because the more you water it down, the worse it becomes, the less valuable it becomes.
Yeah.
And that is a business sense that doesn't matter. The immediate bottom line, is that better? Yep, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Who cares about anything else?
While we're on the topic of player welfare, do you think that there should be a bargaining agreement similar to that of in American sports for European football as well?
I mean,
absolutely. This is so easy for me. Absolutely, 100%.
in an ideal world, yes. The issue is that the way this sport is so put together is that, like, it's constantly lived in this stasis that is, and that's already always tilting towards owners, at the moment, and we're going to get onto that later, aren't we? Talking about ownership, that kind of thing. But it would be great if you could go to blank slate and players could just say, here are our demands and here's what we'll give you. I mean, look, collective bargaining agreements in American sports a lot of the time been really good. Like the NWSL just had an absolute landmark
Incredible.
one. Taking away the draft was excellent, giving players more power about where they can actually play football. Like all of these things really should be a fundamental part of being an athlete.
Especially when you see, companies, they have HR, they have certain things, certain aspects, even for regular people. So these footballers are making millions of dollars a year and they don't really have a say on what goes on in their own careers.
Yeah, and honestly, dude, and that can range from anything. It's not just about being a footballer. Yes, they should be able to negotiate about that. And you know what? I reckon if you get a good CBA down and you agree on a structure, that could give you more of an excuse or more of a precedent to be able to strike or lock out or really push for your rights, which you should do as an athlete,
Absolutely.
as a human.
Absolutely. And these players, they need that as well. They've worked hard enough to deserve it. I mean, football is evolving in so many ways. We talk about them adding games, them adding more tournaments, all this sort of stuff. So the players should have the right to also factor in their careers and also have a decision on whether they want to do these certain things that football is expanding into and making so much money off of them. They should have a say in what happens in their careers as well.
Yeah, and also let's be honest, like in American sports, it's not like the owners always super benefit from CBAs, but they also then come to a sense of understanding about where they can operate, right? And if this is a financial question, it is, then look, the cynic in me is saying, all right, now owners are going to find the other loopholes that they didn't before. Like, that there is always ways to work around this, but just establishing a sense of player rights, like, it makes so much sense, dude.
It's been an incredibly big weekend this weekend for young talent, specifically Lamine Yamal. Endrick also getting some minutes against Atletico Madrid in a 1-1 tie between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. And we've been talking about this, actually. We used to say there used to be a lot of youngsters coming up in the football scene that we never heard of, but now we just be seeing youngsters just getting produced left and right. How do you guys kind of feel about that?
Well, I mean, it varies from club to club, right? But I mean, the place that I'd start is Barca and La Masia. They've been hunting for their next Messi, bro, for like years. They're like, can we find him? Can we find him? Can we find where is this kid? I mean, and Lamine's like the next big thing, right?
Kubarsi as well.
Kubasi's been decent, but look, let's be honest. Lamine is probably the best talent we've seen come
In a
out of
while.
there since
Absolutely.
since Leo.
Mm.
And he is absolutely cooking. He is unbelievable. He's scoring, he's assisting, he's making players look really silly, and he's got that kind of like game intelligence that you don't usually see a players his age as
That
well.
boy could cook.
Yeah,
That boy could cook.
that's so true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, with Barca, and look, this is the place we can come to it, is that like Barca don't know how to manage their youth.
Oh my god.
It's just like play, go win, go win, go win, score goals for us, buddy. Meanwhile, Real Madrid with Endrick, they're doing the opposite. It's like he has played 8 games for them. He hasn't started a single one, but he gets at least 5 minutes every game, no matter what. Just go on there, have a run around, scare a few defenders, and see you in 2 years when you're the best in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, dramatic, but you know what I mean.
For sure.
So with Barcelona, the disappointing thing is that if they had more direction, if they had a better long-term vision, that's what they would be prioritizing. Chasing these one big name stars, and then the squad is thin, and then you're playing 17-year-olds, 17,000 minutes over a calendar year, and then they're running into the grounds. And I hate that this is the negative side that we have to look at, but when was the last time Lamine Yamal had 2 weeks off? Did he get it this summer? Did he even get 2 weeks off this summer?
No.
After
With the
being player of
Euros?
the tournament for Spain at the Euros? I don't think that he did. And that's a big fear that when you watch, I forget if it was Gavi or Pedri with the
Pedri
Is
played
it-
like 80, 70 games, including the
Yeah, and
Olympics
that's-
one year.
Bro,
There's
that's
a
the
picture of him just looking absolutely
Shattered.
exhausted, shattered, bro. He looked 80 years old, bro. Are these players over in Brazil, such as Esteval, these young talents, do you guys think that they're moving to Europe too early?
Well,
part of me does.
yeah, but I mean, it's like the balance, isn't it, between like content. I need something to be excited
For
about.
sure, because
and,
Neymar,
like,
we saw it. Like Neymar was able to stay at Santos till the age of 21, 22, play in the Club World Cup, play against Barcelona, and then finally go. We don't see that anymore.
Yeah, this is true. I think part of the issue, though, isn't it, with like Brazilian teenagers now, is that like they're kind of like ready to take that next step. It's like, at what point are you almost too good for, say, Palmeiras, Santos,
Yeah.
Fluminense, etc., right? Endrick, we were talking a bit about this off camera. I mean, he scored like 12 goals for Palmeiras, right? As
At the
like
age
a
of what, 16?
16, 17.
Incredible.
What does he do the next year in like the Brazilian top flight? Score like 19? Like, what's better, score a bunch there or like come off the bench for Madrid? It's like that cost benefit analysis,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's crazy. But look, part of me thinks stick around till you're 20, buddy, and then come cook. But if you're ready to at least come off the bench, like you may as well. It's the highest level in the world, man.
The issue with this is whether or not the player is ready. If you don't make the deal will not be available in 2 years.
Yeah,
Like-
that's true.
Every top club, I talk to scouts, I talk to people, when their scouts are North America, South America, we want this player to come over as soon as possible. Endrick would have been at Madrid if not for FIFA rules in which he could not move until he was 18. Kendry Paez would be at Chelsea if he was 18 years old and ready to go. And again, like the Paez deal, and we're going to talk about Cavan Sullivan, I know, like those are two great examples. Paez was signed at 15. Cavan Sullivan signed at 14. Cavan Sullivan had a deal to Manchester City before he had his first professional contract with the Philadelphia Union.
Union.
Mad, isn't
I
it?
know it's crazy because I come from Philadelphia Union Academy, right? So I'm hearing the insider, what's going on behind the scenes. And they literally told me that they wanted Kevin to stay and develop and be ready. But there comes a time when the Man Cities, the Dortmunds come
Yes.
sniffing. What are you going to do? Lose Kevin for free at 16? Because he has a European passport. So similar to Christian Pulisic, he could have left at 16, got implemented in one of these systems, got played, and Philadelphia Union don't receive a dime.
No.
Or do they sign him young, sell him to City when he turns 16, and at least receive some sort of profit
So-
from their investment?
So they split the difference on this. So the first incarnation of this deal was, so City agreed the contract with him, and it was, okay, what is he going to do between 14 and 18?
Right.
Or 14 and 16? Because he can't go to England until he's 18, but Lamel in Belgium, they're another City football group club. The original idea was
Multi-club ownership.
he goes at 16 to Belgium, and then at 18 he goes to City. But what then do you do from 14 to 16? And the Philadelphia Union, like, they would have looked out for his best interests. I know that for a fact. But like, what incentive would they have to keep playing him in their academy
if they know he's leaving.
if they're not, and they're not getting a dime, right? Like, so I was honestly shocked, pleasantly surprised in reporting this out, and a little self plug and breaking all of the news around Cavan Sullivan, the first deal of Manchester
Oh,
City
buddy.
stuff, all that stuff.
Okay.
I was told it was like the discussions with City and Philly were not going well. The league was involved. There was people trying to mediate this and figure out like what's best for the player, and hey, what's a fair price, what's a fair sell-on percentage, all that. Thankfully, they ended up getting it done. Cavan signs the biggest homegrown deal in league history, the biggest first contract, like more than Freddie Adu's was. Like, I think this is best for his development. But Manchester City, like, if there weren't, like, I'm certain that they would want him in their academy right now because
they
all
could.
of these teams
Right.
want the players there as early as possible.
By that logic, then, what do you guys? I mean, look, you played in the Union Academy. You probably know something about the sport. What do you think Cavan's ceiling is then?
For me, I think just from the beginning, I'm already starting to see signs of like them putting a lot of pressure on this kid. Like, I think you guys seen that clip now of that's been kind of going
Yeah.
viral with him with the free kick, and he's pushing his teammate to the side. And I just think it's gotten to a point where, listen, I've interviewed Cavan a couple times. Great kid, seems like he has a great head on his shoulders. But at the same time, you're going to Man City 14, 15. You're seeing yourself on social media. You're on TikTok. You're on
Yep.
Instagram. You could
Yeah,
tell
it's
he's a kid
crazy.
who likes scrolling. I mean, who doesn't like scrolling? So you're seeing this stuff every single day. Obviously, you're going to start believing the stuff
Oh,
that's being said. It's
for
just a
sure.
natural human kind of response to what's going on.
There's a fine line between being a little bit of a prick and being a bad kid and being so like you need to be a little bit of a prick to be
To make it.
the best, right? Like, and like particularly the way he plays everything, right? This kid is not short on confidence. If I was 14 and now he just turned 15, if I was that age, all the hype, everything, like you go to youth tournaments, like everybody's like, where is the Philadelphia Union? Where is the 15s when he was there? Where is the 17s? I was at GA Cup this year with the 17s. Like everybody was at whatever field he was at.
For Cavan.
So he's already been dealing with, I know I'm a star at 13 years old, 14 years old, now 15 years old. So I'm not worried about that. What I know is he has a great family. His parents, his dad
His dad's a
connected
great guy.
with Villanova, all of that stuff. He's got 3 older brothers. They are the ones kicking this kid more than anybody else. So like he'd like I've talked to people around him and his family. This it's just like yeah, like his brothers will let him know if he's being a little bit of an a-hole.
I think my biggest worry is not about if he's reaching his ceiling. I think my biggest worry is that if he's even going to be, when he goes to Europe, what type of shock he's kind of in for when he gets to that level, because there's hundreds and thousands of Cavans, or we've seen players like
Right.
Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, all those players break through. My biggest question now is how his transition to Europe is going to be, because it's not going to be like anything in America. He's not going to be the best player on every team when he first gets there.
Yeah.
Christian had to have a transition when
Yeah.
he first went to Dortmund. All these guys, when you just get to the club, that's literally the beginning.
Yeah.
In Europe, you're there alone. You're going to be there. You're going to a team playing against grown men. How is he going to react?
True.
So for me, it's pretty limitless right now. And again, it's unfair to even speculate what he could be. I'm not putting any
Which is
ceilings on.
why I asked you.
Yeah, I can't put a ceiling on a
but he's
15-year-old, man.
exactly. But like, so for me, putting it contextually, better than Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic, kind of in this age group at where they were,
I
right?
think so.
And yeah, I absolutely like scouts. All this, like this is.
They
just
think
my
he's
opinion.
better than Pulisic, how he was at 15.
Yeah. And
I
again,
don't know, man.
so Pulisic helped open that road because I'm not sure if City, Madrid, Bayern, Dortmund would have just been Dortmund, kind of looking at him, right? Like,
But
so
it was
I
a
think that
different
helps.
time, though.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. But like,
so
so
then.
Pulisic helped open this road for him. So that helps a lot too.
This is a great segue into us talking about, American sports owners in general going into the football culture and in the game now. You're seeing at Chelsea players signing contracts for 5 to 10 years, for example. Do you guys think American owners are basically gouging out the success of football just to make as much money as they can for these investments instead of thinking about the players?
Well, I mean,
Just like how they did in the NBA and NFL.
I don't think this is an American specific thing. I think
You don't
this
think
is an every businessman thing that is owning these clubs. So yes, but yes to every national.
I like that.
I like that. Everything's ruined.
Everything sucks. yeah.
No, but I think look, reading between the lines here, what we're basically talking about is Chelsea and the Todd father, right? Like, and basically this idea of these really long-term contracts, and Todd Bowley was a Dodgers guy. He
Yeah.
turned the Dodgers into they won the World Series
Yeah.
2020, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So anyway, knowledge. But anyway, no, point being is that with Todd Bowley and with Chelsea, it's these 8-9 year contracts, which we all kind of like on a little bit because it's new, right?
It's
No
also
one's
stupid.
well, it is stupid, but no one's done it, so we don't quite know how stupid it is yet.
Mm.
But
I think it's smart.
right. Well,
Hold on.
right,
I'm gonna
right.
go
So,
first. Sorry,
no.
everybody's cutting everybody off. But like, so yeah, we don't know if it's good. Well, like, you're either locked into a bad contract, or if somebody's performing very well, Cole Palmer already signed a new contract.
Same with
Right.
Nicholas Jackson until
So
2033.
yeah, but
That's
so the whole
crazy.
point is like maybe it's smart if it's like, well, we're not going to renegotiate this deal, but that's not how the world works. That's not how the game works. That's not how most sports work. So you don't get any value. All you get is risk of, okay, this guy stinks, and we can't get out of this contract because we have 7 more years and nobody's paying a third of what he's making right now.
Right. But then the flip side is maybe the players do benefit a little bit more.
They have
From a
more
financial
security.
perspective,
oh my
they
God,
have
yeah.
more security.
But they
right?
also
100%.
make less when you think about it. Like,
Well-
for example, Chelsea's their wage structure guys are only making 60 to 100K a week. I'm pretty sure when Pulisic was there, he's on 150K.
Well, the thing is, though, is that they're also like bonus encouraged contracts, right? Cole Palmer's making around £60,000, which is like way less than he
Way
should
less.
be. Juicer Jack, the big Chelsea fan, was like, he should be on 300K, which is a bit much for me. But point being, he's got like a lot of bonuses written into his contract. And look, let's be honest, bro, the number of
He's
goals and
smashing
assists,
it.
he is hitting those bonuses.
For sure.
But there is something to be said though for that wage structure. If you're going to offer low wages to then do the bonus thing, like I get that in terms of like a quote unquote business mentality a little bit, because you see it as maybe a lower risk if it's a lower salary. If it was 8-9 years at 200 plus K a week, then you're a big idiot. Now you might just be a normal idiot.
Yeah,
But I mean, look, there are going to be some players who choke, right?
for
like,
sure.
Like Nicholas Jackson's been all right. He's having a good season so far. He could just not take that next step, not develop. And then you've got this guy for 9 years who's like, to say what the kids are saying, mid.
But I guess in that way also though they keep their transfer value, if that makes sense, because another club will have to buy them out their contract. They never lose players on a free transfer.
Right, that's true. and
Because they have to loan them out until the contract expires.
There is
Depending on how bad they are. Yeah.
well, that's the other thing though. When you bring that up, free agency in football is now a thing,
Mhm.
and it wasn't a thing because people would sign new contracts, and there's this thing that's going on at the moment, right? It's like the 1 year left on the contract, and I might leave on a free.
Yep.
It didn't used to really happen all that much. Like the one that I think of at the moment with zero bias whatsoever is like Trent Alexander-Arnold with Liverpool, right? That would break my heart.
Me too.
What
Yeah.
you should do is throw him a 5-year deal for as much as you want, future club captain, for example. Right now, because he's got a year and a bit left on his deal, Real Madrid could just nick him for free. They're kind of safeguarding against that trend. And I think that's where the American sports mentality has come into it, because they've maybe seen that development and gone, hang on, okay, well, if this is where it's going, what we're going to do is protect against that. And
sure.
there might be some sense there.
And so you guys think that, American ownership has changed European football in a way?
Yeah, I mean, I guess using the Chelsea example again, it's viewing it as if they're assets in a portfolio rather than footballers and humans and people, which I really don't like. And I think that gets into the multi-club ownership and stuff. I was at some conference or something where an American owner who had a couple clubs, one of the things is, if we don't have a right back on this other team, but we have 3 on one of our other teams, we can just move one around. And I'm like, you're talking about this as if it's a stock. And it's like, oh, the stock will increase if it goes to this. It's like, man, like, does the player get any say in whether or not he moves to a different country, a different league, change teams, all that? Do his kids get a say? I need to leave whatever country to go to a different, like, that's what makes me uncomfortable. And I think that's way too much of the conversation about like the multi-club stuff. And like with City has gotten stick for this too, that with Savinho, like he was the club record signing for Troyes, I believe.
Mhm.
And he never played a minute for Troyes.
Never
It
played
was,
a minute.
dude, that was crazy watching him last year a bit for Girona,
It was
because,
awesome.
when he was coming up and I remember him absolutely cooking Barcelona, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is incredible. And I say that with no necessary like bias or whatever. It was just like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this kid is sick. But the thing is that the way the move went is that He played for Troyes,
Trois.
whatever. Shut up.
You sound
Um,
really Anglo right now.
And then gets loaned to Girona, and then City pay 35 mil, which is like half of what he is worth. But where the hell does that money go? Meanwhile, Troyes are now relegated again. They've been stripped of all of their assets because their assets are going from them to Girona to another club, and they're now left with no one. And dude, like, there are probably so many fans of that club who just like
Get
who are just
tossed by the wayside.
they're just watching their team just collapse slowly. Dude, that's got to be awful.
Now we're gonna get into some game time. You know, this is one of my favorite segments of the show to do. We're gonna do Tom versus Tom.
Real quickly, was there a winner last week? Just curious, what happened last week?
Ooh. Tell him if there was a winner. Who was it?
No.
It was somebody named Tom.
No.
Sure.
But that's the problem. We can just be like, it was Tom.
No, that's
Nah,
not what
it
we
was
can
Tom.
do.
It was Tom.
It was
It was
TB.
Tom.
It was
It was
TB.
TB.
No Brady. Tom Bogert. Come on now. All right, so now this
I'm sorry,
game.
but like TB, no Brady.
Listen, this
Oh,
game
no.
might be a little difficult for my English brother right here, but this is a wiki game USMNT edition. You guys have 5 rounds. We're gonna show you guys the careers of several U.S. men's national team players, and you have to guess what player it is.
In
No,
what world is this fair?
Do we do a buzzer situation here? Because he's going to try to get through on every loophole.
Oh,
he's
listen.
already
Now,
taken us to court.
Last week we did clubs. Now this week you have to name a player before you answer. Roll up the first names. Let's get into it.
Dane Richards. This is Landon Donovan.
Yep, it is 1-0. Come on, Mr. Hindle.
Steven Gerrard. That's Clint Dempsey.
No.
No.
Wrong.
Wee,
Wait,
I
I'll
saw
give you a guess.
Oh,
Go
I got
ahead.
that. Oh, this is brutal.
Tom Hindle, you get a guess before he gets to guess again.
Brian McBride?
Oh my goodness, you got that.
Oh!
Ooh, that's a big
I had to
dub.
tap it and I
you
got too
had
excited.
that. Mr. Hindle, I'm very proud of you.
Can we end it now?
Very angry at myself. Now he's playing for a draw.
Moving on to
Yeah,
the
the
next
old
one.
card. Steven Gerrard. This is Michael Bradley.
It is Michael Bradley.
There's no way I'm getting that.
2-1.
Steven Lenhart. This is
Oh, I
DeMarcus
actually-
Beasley.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it
Yep.
is DeMarcus Beasley. He's had a hell of a career, low key. Let's see if you guys can guess this one.
Steven Gerrard. Tim Weah.
I actually knew that one.
Hindle, come on, man. Get on your
I
toes, brother.
actually
Get
knew
on your
that one.
toes. Prepare for the pass.
Do you
Get
know
on your
what?
toes.
Do you know what's messed up? Tom probably knew this from when he was like 3 years old.
Yeah, that's true. He's
Yeah,
Like,
Tim
he
Weah
was-
when I was
Listen,
3.
he's
Oh,
MLS
shut up,
insider
but
for
you
a
know-
reason.
Yeah.
Come on now. Last but not least, come on, Tom. We got to get you at least one more point
Shut
on the
up. I don't want
board.
this condescending bullshit. You know it as well, don't you?
The Chivas USA bit's throwing me off because it's not Moadu. I see the Rangers.
Right.
I'm buzzing against
Phen-
Steven Lenhart. This is Carlos Bocanegra.
Yes, it is. Damn. Tom Bogert, USMNT knowledge, bruh. Hindle, we got a nice little bonus one for you to see if you could, at least make the margins a little bit better.
Real quick, is this worth 6 points?
Stop it. Relax before somebody said yes off camera.
In the
Next goal wins.
comments.
Next goal wins.
Ooh.
Oh my God, buzzing in. This is Daniel Sturridge.
Wow. You even lost the British one too? All right, now there's no going back.
Lost the
You're
stud
not
one.
recovering with that one.
Lost the stud
Luckily
one.
for Tom,
I thought you were gonna put up Raheem's college stats.
That
please
would've
don't
been
do that.
good.
They weren't the great.
Yo,
They
yo,
weren't
can
the
we see
best.
them?
Obviously, Messi coming back into the league, they'll probably favor him for the MVP potentially. Or do you guys think Evander is running away with it?
If they were to set the points record and he goes thermonuclear over the last 3 games, which is possible,
Entirely
Which is
Like,
possible.
definitely possible.
he has a chance. The minutia of the voting, like, look at American sports, like MVP player, like these are narrative based.
Yeah.
There are
Definitely.
so for me it's Evander right now, but again, there's a couple games left. Cucho Hernandez is in that
Cucho.
discussion. Lucho Costa's in that discussion. Messi isn't for me because he doesn't have enough minutes. What he would need to do is go insane over the last couple games. They set the points record, then I would consider it. And it wouldn't, at that point, it wouldn't matter what I consider because MVP is decided by media, player, and club votes. Last year, he played 400 minutes in MLS regular season. He was second in newcomer of the year. 400 minutes because the players and the clubs
Voted.
each over 50%.
So
If Messi's on ballots, and he will be, the players might carry him, and the clubs, and like, again, it could be media. I'm not suggesting that we're holier than thou, right? But like last year, he had no business being on that finalist ballot, and he was because the players and the clubs, and again, media members as well, all, oh my God, it's Messi, of course, but he played 400 minutes or whatever it was.
Do you know what's quite funny? And you bring that up with the players. I was, and this is where I get to do my best Tom Bogert impression. I was talking to a source, and I was like, "How good?" And he plays with Messi into Miami, and I was like, "How good is it to play with Messi?" And he was like, "Think about how good you think it is, and then multiply that by 1,000." And that's the point. There is a sense of being starstruck, man.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that's enough. And the other thing I will say, as the Brit to the Americans, MVP, right? Most valuable player. Isn't Messi the most valuable player to his team?
Well, Miami won
does a Messi-
7 of 8 games without him.
Yeah, in the
if-
in the dog days of the
if
season,
we
though, mate.
if we want to do valuable, Lucho Acosta has scored or assisted, I think, 30 out of the club's 52 goals.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love it to give it to Evander. I think if he gets double digit 20 goals, 20 assists in the season, that's incredible.
Yeah, I don't
bro.
care what the team.
I don't
is.
care what
It's not
what
his fault that
team
they
it
can't
is.
defend.
Yeah, it's not his fault. Listen, 20 goals, 20 assists. If he reaches that double digits, 20 goals, 20 assists,
It's nuts.
bro, that's incredible stats. I don't care what league it is.
Do you know what's unbelievable as well about him is that he's a really, really captivating watch. In
He's
a
a
way,
great
a lot of
footballer.
players.
He's a great personality too.
Great
Yeah.
personality. English is amazing. Great person. Gave me a jersey at MLS All-Star. Shout out to him.
Yeah, your best
So,
mates.
you know, I gotta
Love
I gotta
Evander.
support him. But also he's been brilliant on the field.
Well, let me see if this gets Tom going. What do you think about MLS counting secondary assists?
That's like college soccer.
That is like college
College
soccer.
soccer,
How many
yeah.
how many
They should do it by
secondary
points.
how many secondary assists you got?
Honestly, I was more of just a straight assist guy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really like the
Wasn't doing anything in the
secondary. I
build-up.
ain't do
Wasn't
no
doing nothing in the
secondary.
build-up.
Get down the wing, cut
I
it
was
back.
get down the wing, cut it back, straight assist. I don't do no pre-assist, my boy.
Right, fair enough.
Obviously, with every episode, we like to end on, some important things that we've been working on. So I'll start off with you, Tom. What you been working on lately in this space? What should the fans be looking forward to seeing from you?
Over at GiveMeSport.com, I've been doing off-season guides for every MLS team. I'll be doing that between now and MLS Cup in December. So every time teams get eliminated, the first 4 teams have been mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. All 4 of those off-season guides are up. You can see what's going on with Chicago, San Jose, Kansas City, and St. Louis.
Okay, love that.
Makes me look bad wearing the St. Louis jersey. That. To be fair, I was like, ooh, pretty kit. For me, I've been doing a little look into sort of the elimination of the NWSL draft and the impact that might have on the league. So talking to players, coaches, GMs, agents, and kind of seeing where they think the league will be in a couple of years without having that draft and without having the ability to dip into, well, you can now dip into college teams, but like, how are things going to change now? What about you, mate? What have you got going on?
Listen, we got some dope content, coming out in the works. We were just at the EA launch last week, like we were talking about. Expect to see some crossover content, with Alan Lazard from the New York Jets, talking about soccer, Nigel Sylvester as well, BMX finest. Literally got some collaborations with Jordan that have been sold out over the last couple weeks. So yeah, man, you see us trying to, develop that connection between soccer, football, with all these other sports and just growing the game as much as possible. Rahimovic, Tom Hindle, Tom Bogert, we're out, the Rondo. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe on all of our social media channels, and we'll see you guys next week.